Hi there, welcome to Tarotland Soap Opera. I'm going to do a reading for Taurus energy, and the top row is going to be high vibe Taurus energy. The bottom row could be a more worldly focused or shadowy focused Taurus energy. It could be a battle going on within you, within other people. And then there's some people who've definitely learned some life lessons that they have no interest in repeating a past pattern and a way of living life or a certain type of relationship, and they're ready to move forward. And there's other people in the world who definitely right now or in the recent past rejected moving forward in a new way, so they are going to repeat a past pattern. And then there's some people that are in mismatched relationships, and some of those people will get out of it and some won't, and some people will get into it. So it's kind of the story of what could be going on in Taurus energy right now, and whether you're a Taurus sun sign or cross-watching for a Taurus, we all have some Taurus energy. So listen to your intuition about how you're handling your Taurus energy and how some other people in your life might be handling their Taurus energy. And it just depends on where people are at in the story. I want to get one more card for the bottom. All right. Okay. In the top row, here, I'll turn down the camera. In the top row, we have rest and rejuvenation because of the deceit card. You know, we can all have negative energy that, basically that's why negative energy is in the world, right? We have lessons to learn. Are we ready to face our fears and insecurities, to love ourselves, to heal from past pain and heartbreak, to be our own best mother, father, coach voice in our own head, to not let negative energy stop us from listening to our intuition guide us in the sixth chakra, and being clear in our thoughts and our thinking with the goddess of the moon after that, which is again about listening to your intuition. Because the reason for your reading is all tied up, which kind of reminds me of like an Eight of Swords card, Gemini energy, which Gemini energy is about, well, we can love people, and people we could love might have their own issues they're dealing with that make them not free to have clear thinking, to listen to their intuition, because either their own negative thoughts and their ego and their fear get in the way, or they have people in their life who don't want them to listen to their intuition because then they wouldn't indulge them in a relationship. Even if it's their friends or family members, if those people aren't listening to their intuition and kind of being bold and brave to stay focused on love and believe in love, well, then those people don't want other people to live their life like that, because then your dreams would come into reality and I'd be upset that I didn't live my life like that. So that's where we can have people in our life who try to stop us from listening to our intuition, and they'd rather have us in a mental prison, which isn't very loving. But if that means that we'll keep staying in a relationship with them and indulging them in their fear, in their insecurity, in their ego, in their lust, in their greed, they're willing to sacrifice other people's happiness for their own kind of selfish needs or want for control. So if you have people in your life that could be manipulated by some of those things, you're trying to release yourself from it, because if we get in relationships with other people that have their own inner issues that they haven't freed themselves from, or they have other people in their life who can kind of manipulate and is like a third party in your relationship, you're going to have to tolerate being imprisoned and enslaved by the same things they are. And so you're trying to heal so that you don't let people who are in negative energy or being unloving, unkind, unjust, unfair, hurtful, whatever, stop you from listening to your intuition. And the Eight of Swords card can be about, I am staying focused on love. Who is loving in my life? Who is just and fair in my life? Who is kind and encouraging and supportive? I'm going to be aligned with that energy within myself every day to treat myself that way. And those are the people I want to invest my time, energy, and effort into. I refuse to be up in my head about the people in my life who chose to be unloving, unkind, unjust, unfair. Why would I do that? You know? So, there could be other people in the world, just like you know, we can all hope that other people free themselves from what enslaves and imprisons them. Our shadowy nature is kind of represented by the devil. We've all got lessons to learn. And the biggest lesson is to learn to love ourselves and get out of our head and get out of our fear and our insecurities, which is what the Eight of Swords can talk about, and see the truth. Quit being in two minds about the truth. I deserve to love myself. It's kind of like we were children and we grew up in families, and hopefully we had families that, did their best to be loving and encouraging, but we're not children anymore. We are supposed to now be our own caregiver. And we were supposed to have learned these skills, but I think the hardest lesson to learn, I think, as a human being, is to learn to love yourself and believe that you deserve to be in relationships with other people who treat you the way you treat them. Because we can all have a pattern of growing up and being used to being in a relationship with people who are kind of manipulative and prideful and egotistical or abusive, and it's kind of our comfort zone. And in order to live our life differently, it can instill fear in us, and it can be awkward to be in relationships with people who treat us the way we treat them. It's outside of our comfort zone. If we haven't learned to love ourselves, we'll probably reject those people and go indulge some shadowy people again. And it was all to teach us a lesson that I need to learn to love myself. And I really need to focus on that instead of like maybe try and find someone else to love me. I am supposed to learn to love me. And then when I know how to love myself and not stay in my shadow nature or codependent nature or stay in relationship with other people who are in shadowy energy, then I'm able to more clearly listen to my intuition to guide me of who I should be in a relationship with, because there's a maximum of 10 in every suit. And this card, I said, reminds me of the Eight of Swords. That means if we're 8 swords up in our head and there's only a maximum of 10, then that means we're thinking about 2 of Cups in our heart, which is about who should I be in a relationship with? Who should I keep investing my time, energy, and effort into? And it can be difficult because some of these people that we can love can be children, our siblings, our parents, romantic interests or whatever. But if they aren't free to love and their judgment is being clouded by their emotionally defensive nature, their self-centered nature, they're more immature, indulgent, lustful, greedy, prideful, envious, jealous, self-centered nature, our dreams can't come into reality with them. And if we already were trying to be with the rest of rejuvenation card here before it, if we were really putting in a lot of work and effort with them to try to get them to be willing to deal with some of their issues and love themselves, believe in themselves, deal with some of their past pain and heartbreak that makes them act in a shadowy nature or a self-protective or emotionally defensive nature or immature and self-centered, whatever the case might be, eventually, if our intuition is telling us that, we have done everything we could, and now if they keep free willingly to refuse listening to their intuition, because we've all got our intuition. That was a gift given to us to help us navigate through difficult times when we're all up in our head and our fear and our insecurity. Our intuition tries to tell us, I don't think this is a good idea. I think we've done this before and it didn't work out well. I think we should do this instead. But some people, they're either so clouded by whatever their issue is, it's blocking them from having clear thinking and listening to their intuition. They might be people who could be very bright. The sixth chakra kind of talks about the head and the mind. But they could be people who have a lot of things buried beneath the surface that they don't want to deal with. And so then they live more from their mind and their heart. And there too, sometimes some people are much more shadowy and they live more from their mind than their heart. They have a lot of fear of being authentic in the world and vulnerable in the world because their more authentic, vulnerable nature could get hurt. So they keep that buried beneath the surface and they get in relationships and they try to mentally strategize everything. And part of their mental strategy could be, if you want to move forward in a relationship based on love, and I don't want to do that because I have a lot of fear about doing that, I might try to emotionally confuse you and try to get you up in your head and get you up in your fears and your insecurities so that you'll keep staying right back here with me and trying to temper my fears or my insecurities or work on this relationship instead of you really listening to your intuition and working through your own issues, because shadowy people don't want you to heal from your fear, your insecurities, your self-limiting beliefs, because then you'll move forward in life in a new way. You'll be free. But they haven't freed themselves from any of their issues, and they might not want to. They might want to keep all those things buried beneath the surface, and they want you to stay in a relationship of illusion with them, that everything's wonderful. Look how great it is. You know, the deceit card, it kind of is like a combination. It reminds me of the devil card. So it can be being in a job or relationship that seems very stable and abundant and victorious and successful by worldly standards. But it also kind of reminds me of the Seven of Swords card, which can be where people don't really want you to see the truth of what's buried beneath the surface. I want you to stay in this job or this relationship. It's good for my ego, my image, you're a good employee, whatever. But I don't really want you to see the truth. I want you to be an illusion that it's all these things I say it is. I don't want you to listen to your intuition, because if you did listen to your intuition, you'd probably really give a lot of thought to if you want to stay in this relationship. Because if people aren't in the relationship based on love, why are they in it? Well, you're good for my status and image. It makes me look victorious and successful. You know, I'm attracted to you. And so long as I can be in a relationship with you, and it seems like we're manifesting all these things in the world that people should say we want and that we want, then it's all great. I just don't want you to realize I'm not in the relationship with you because of love. I'm going to try to like mirror back to you how you are to me, but I don't really freely give of myself, and it just, my cup doesn't overflow. You know, you're basically not in a relationship with someone who's like you. You might be in a relationship with someone who has similar wounding as you, but their default in relationships when things come up that cause them mental conflict or whatever, is to act more out of ego or fear or defensiveness instead of love and justice and fairness. So I think if some of you are already in a relationship like that, you're in the final phases of like healing from that, because you know that's the thing, we're emotionally complex human beings and it can take a long time. That's why it's not good to indulge yourself in something fluffy thinking, oh, I'll just indulge in it for a little bit, you know, no big deal. We're emotionally complex human beings and we can kind of get attached to people, and it can take a long time to get emotionally unattached from people. And I think if you did know someone who eventually you came to realize might have a lot of fears and insecurities, might be someone who tries to create an illusion in the world about who they are, but they like to keep their emotions and things buried beneath the surface, and they might keep a lot of other things buried beneath the surface. And you listen to your intuition to guide you through that difficult time period, and now you're looking to the future and staying focused mentally on truth and justice and fairness and love, and investing your time and energy into people like that. And there could be other people who have been hoping you would do that, just like you're hoping for some other people in your life to face their fears and insecurities, to listen to their intuition to guide them so that they choose the path of love instead of making decisions out of codependency and fear and ego or whatever. And it could just be a time. I'm going to ask, let's ask about this Eight of Swords, kind of the all tied up card. You're going to listen to your intuition basically when it's time to move on from some different people in your life, because again, you could have a friend, you could have an adult child, whatever, that different people in your life that you have extended, that I would like to have you move forward with me in an energy of peace and love and justice and fairness. And there comes a point in time where it's like, you all have free will, and if that's where you're at, and you got to go learn your own lessons. I understand that. But I'm going to not stay in conflict about it. I'm going to keep living my life. I wish you peace, But I'm not going to let people who are kind of acting in poor behavior stop me to get me focused on them as like a distraction. I can only do so much. You kind of got to work on some of these issues yourself. And sometimes the best thing we can do is to lead people by example. That would be high vibe Taurus energy. Taurus energy in high vibe is like a spiritual leader. And so I'm going to show you how I handle when people act that way, which is basically how you're acting right now. I'm going to wish you peace. And I'm going to keep moving on, listening to my intuition, staying focused, and investing my time and energy in the people who are loving and just and fair and respectful and acting with character and integrity. And the people who aren't, I'm going to see the truth of it. They're not being loving. They're being shadowy Taurus. They're being stubborn and prideful and egotistical and maybe selfish and greedy and all about their ego and image or indulgent nature. So the all tied up card, we have the death card, which is showing itself, which is Scorpio energy, which is a water sign energy. This is, it's been hard. It can be hard to emotionally detach from people because we wish they would have moved forward with us and that they were in relationship with us. But with the Scorpio death card, that talks about finally being at the end of being able to emotionally detach from people. And we have these 5 cards that came out. And why did all this come out? Because of the Queen of Cups, which is I also view as Scorpio energy. You offered yourself love. And the Queen of Cups talks about mutually loving relationships. I would like to be in mutually loving relationships, but if the other people are a non-life-giving energy of the death card, or they shadowy Scorpio can be people, again, who prefer to maybe keep their emotions buried beneath the surface, be more emotionally shallow and superficial in a relationship. Shadowy energy in general wants to be indulged in their shadow nature and that you should just love them anyway. But it's like, well, you're being immature. Well, you're being prideful. You're being egotistical. You're being self-centered. You're possibly intimidating and controlling, possibly acting like a private detective in a relationship, maybe a narcissist. Shadowy Scorpio can be like all those things, and they don't have to be a Scorpio sun sign. It's just how they harness their Scorpio energy. Do they want to be in deep, meaningful relationships? Are they willing to detach and put an end to their old ways of being? And detach from being in their shadowy nature of fear and insecurity and self-centeredness and immaturity to be in a mutually loving relationship? If not, I wish you peace. But I'm moving on. And there's some people in the world who've never been able to do that. And some of the people in your life might have a lot of things that manipulate and control them. And other people in their life who tempt them to be in their shadow nature. Like, hey, are you immature and impulsive? Me too. Let's be in a relationship. Are you kind of prideful and egotistical and materialistic? Me too. Let's get in a relationship. Are you kind of petty and envious and jealous? Me too. Let's point the finger at everyone else and blame everyone else for the problems in our life instead of taking responsibility for our own life. You have cut people out of your life who harness these energies in a shadowy way, and they haven't done that. You don't align with those shadowy energies within yourself anymore. If you ever did, then you're certainly not aligning with it anymore and not being in a relationship with other people who still harness those energies in a shadowy way. So what are those shadowy energies? Basically, people who are emotionally invested in, they harness shadowy Virgo, shadowy Aries, shadowy Leo, shadowy Virgo, shadowy Taurus, and shadowy Scorpio. They might be people who don't want to do love. I could get hurt doing love. I love the world. I love me. It's all about me. My long-term goal is to look like a boss in the world, or to get in a relationship where people indulge me being bossy, being controlling, being prideful, being egotistical, being manipulative, maybe because I have things of the world that people want in the Ten of Pentacles. I think I'm attractive, or I'm charming, or I have power or influence, or I've got money. And I think people should want to invest in being in a relationship with me. And some of those people who are like that could have ended a relationship with you because they wanted to go get in a relationship with someone they could invest in who did have those things, who was willing to invest and indulge in them. Maybe he's on the same page as them, makes their life about status and image and money and materialism as a driving factor for getting in a relationship, not love. They love the world. They love their image and their status and having power and influence and money. And you're like, you know what? If that's what drives and motivates you, then we're not on the same page. Because what they didn't know about you, if they were trying to manipulate and control you and have you all up in your head and stop you from listening to your intuition, what they didn't know about you, they wanted to stop you from loving yourself and believing in your dreams. And they thought you were kind of like them, that you also are kind of driven and motivated by the world and your ego and all those things, and that you'd be willing to stay in a relationship with them for those reasons. But they didn't realize that you harness these energies in a high vibe way. You want to be in deep, meaningful relationships. High vibe Scorpio is, I want to explore the mysteries of life. I want to explore the highs and lows of life. I don't want to be in superficial, shallow relationships. I want to be in deep, meaningful relationships. I've learned lessons in life to make mature decisions in my life and grow and mature myself, and the other people haven't. They keep indulging and investing in their egoic nature. I don't have lessons to learn. Look how good looking I am. Look how much money I have. Look at this. Look at that. I don't have to grow up. This is the way of the world. I'm in line with the world. Well, they need to go find someone else who's aligned with their more worldly nature. Because you want to invest in people who also make good decisions in a relationship, because the shadowy people only made decisions that were best for them. You want to be in relationships with people who take everyone into consideration if their decision's going to affect other people. People who aren't prideful and egotistical and superficial and shallow. People who love and believe in themselves enough to want to grow themselves to their full potential, that they've gotten out of their more egoic nature. In high vibe Virgo energy, they have gone within to know and learn lessons that if I get in and invest in other people who are emotionally shallow and superficial, the relationship probably ends and I don't feel very loved in the relationship. And if I'm not very loving or giving or nurturing and I'm all about myself and I'm competitive and prideful and egotistical or whatever, the relationship probably ends. So other people have not kept repeating that old pattern over and over. The definition of insanity. I'm going to keep doing the same old thing I'm always done, and I'm sure it's going to work this time. You've learned lessons from this life experience. You grew and matured yourself, and you took that inspired action to get out of your competitive energy about it, your ego about it, to move forward having a very solid, stable foundation. and you quit working together with those people, you let go from the 10 down to the 7, you let go of the 3 of Pentacles. I'm not going to work with those people anymore. We operate from different foundations. What they're motivated and inspired by isn't what I'm motivated and inspired by. We all want stability and security in life, but to have a relationship that lasts, that's abundant in all ways, it has to be built on authenticity and love. Not, well, I'm going to create an illusion that it's love, but I really don't want to be authentic. I'm defensive to that. I don't really want to be authentically vulnerable in the relationship. I'll have sex with you, but I really don't want to do a deep, meaningful relationship because then I'd be emotionally invested. And then if it didn't work out, I don't think I could recover because I've never invested in having a very stable foundation within myself. So I don't think I could withstand. I don't think I could withstand the storms of life. So sometimes those people who know that they can't withstand the storms of life, and if people did things to make them feel up in their head and cause them all this fear and insecurity, that's why they thought they could do that to you, and you would put an end to loving yourself because you would go back to your more, well, I want the stability and the security and I want to get back in the relationship. And they thought they were going to cause a storm in your life, and you ended up causing a storm in their life because their plan didn't work out like they thought because they didn't realize that you're a boss and that you aren't someone who's really prideful and egotistical like they are. And you are bold and brave and confident and stable and grounded within yourself. And you chose to invest in love and to emotionally detach from their ass or that job. So if any of you are at that point yet, there could have been other people that you could have been intuitive about that might be in their own predicament. And you might have made them an offer. It's kind of like offering them some of the resources that you've learned, lessons that you've learned, to try to inspire them to take some action in their life, to, because we've all got lessons to learn about living more from our heart than our mind, and some people, and like we all have to go out on these journeys in life to learn lessons. You might know some people that are right now been out on a journey of kind of letting their heart or their emotions run their life, or possibly a mother figure or a Scorpio in their life or other people that they have mutual love for kind of manipulate and control them. But it's not, people don't really have their best interest at heart. It is for their own kind of more selfish, greedy, prideful reasons that some people in their life are wanting to keep them in a relationship with them somehow. And, even if that's friends or family, and you could have offered resources to some people to try to tell them about your story and, basically everything I just said and how you were inspired to take this time to rest and to heal. And Virgo energy of the Knight of Pentacles and the Ten of Pentacles is about going within to see the truth. If people aren't being truthful and honest and just and fair and encouraging and supportive, why? And that can be really confusing, and we really don't even have to figure that out. We can just ask ourselves, is this loving? Is this kind? Was this just and fair? Was this person acting with character and integrity? Did this person try to emotionally confuse me about the truth? Some people tried to emotionally confuse you about the truth and put you in a mental prison so they could go indulge in something else in the world. And then they were helping you just stay in a mental prison and be confused. So if that didn't work out and it didn't turn out like they planned and they were deceived, that then they could come back because you still didn't know what the truth was. And that you'd maybe still be in a mental prison, and they could, if things ended with the person they wanted to go indulge in, who might have been someone who they could have felt was more on the same page as them in life. But if that didn't work out, then they could come back and get in a relationship with you. Because if you were loving and just and fair and open and honest and authentic in a relationship, apparently that's not what they want in a relationship. They just might be people who are more motivated in their Taurus energy to be in a relationship where they don't have to grow and mature themselves. They don't have to deal with the things they keep buried beneath the surface. They might be people who like to manipulate and control people in relationships and just create an illusion that it's love, so they're not really emotionally invested. And with people they wouldn't have to grow and mature themselves with. And if they stay with loving people, they have got to do that work or the relationship's not going to work out. You're going to move on regardless. And so, well, we've explained all that. You get the idea. Let's go down here to the bottom row. People who are in shadowy energy right now, the reason for their reading that came out is because of the healer of the ages, which in a shadowy way that can be people. Again, shadowy Taurus energy can be people who have a lot of, they've really worked on their reputation. I have a really good reputation. People in the community view me as a pillar of society. I might have put in a lot of work and effort to have stability or security or to look attractive or have all these social connections or, something along those lines, right? So sometimes they like to get in relationships with other people who that could be in shadowy energy of their own, because then those people will look to them as their savior and they won't listen to their intuition. It's you are the answer to my problems, someone who's in codependent energy. You look to alcohol or drugs to make you feel better and solve all your problems. They want people to look to them, oh my gosh, you're the shining star in the world. You're the person I need to be in a relationship with. If I ever wonder about anything, I'll ask you because you are the keeper of knowledge and love or something, And it isn't for me to love myself and adhere to a higher truth and a higher justice than what this person might say is just and fair. So we start out with the man holding coin, kind of to the King of Pentacles. For some of you, it might be a man, but the masculine in tarot can kind of represent us operating more from our egoic nature, because we all present ourselves in masculine energy because people really don't know the truth of what's going on within us emotionally. So it doesn't really matter if they're a male or a female, but they're people who present themselves as harnessing high vibe Capricorn energy of being very stable, grounded, victorious, and successful in the world. They would be a good marriage partner. They would be a good person to employ in a job. They give the impression of being someone who's very successful and mature in the world. But they might be someone who lives more from their mind than their heart. The thinking woman reminds me of the Queen of Swords, which is Aquarius energy, which in shadow can be people who, again, view themselves as being very successful in the world. I'm a shining star. People should want to be in a relationship with me. And so, I'm going to present myself to other people as being this very successful person. And I think it will appeal to people who want to have victory and success in the world, maybe trying to appeal to people to live more from their mind than their heart. Maybe victorious and successful. This would make practical, logical sense. You should get in a relationship with me. And also the Queen of Swords talks about people who've been betrayed. It's oh, did a relationship not work out for you? Do you feel betrayed emotionally? Whether you're male or female, I'm going to come present myself to you, whether I'm male or female, and I'm going to present myself as, I could be a really nurturing, loving, supportive, encouraging partner. I am your savior who came into your life. Oh my gosh, I'm like a godsend. The only thing is, they don't want the people they get in a relationship with to know that they reject harnessing these energies in a high vibe way, and that they actually harness these energies in a shadowy way. strategy, and woman holding coin. The reason they want to be in a relationship is they're also thinking more from their mind than there are too. This would look really good for my status and image if I could get you to get in a relationship with me. And I'm more emotionally invested. I do view the Queen of Pentacles as Taurus energy. This would be really good for my status and image and my stability and security and my wealth and all that good stuff. That's why I want to be in a relationship with you. Maybe because you have money, because you're attractive, because you have status. And if I were to get in a relationship with you, it would look like I'm God, you know? Or watch out for some of you. You might have a shadowy person, and it could be someone who previously was in your life, who you already were shown the truth, that they were materialistic, bossy, controlling, manipulative, materialistic, emotionally shallow and superficial, who tried to confuse everybody about the truth of who they were and maybe why your relationship ended. But if the relationships that they're in don't seem to be what they want, if they were able to heal a relationship with you, it would make them seem like, oh my God, they're back in the spotlight. Oh my gosh, you healed this relationship. I can't believe you guys worked this out. But it's all just strategy. It'd be good for their ego and their image and their money if they could get you back in a relationship. So watch out for that. You know, there's different people that we've been in a relationship with that we've broken up with. Some people we always did view as a loving, nurturing person. They never showed us that they were really any different than that. When a relationship ended, they didn't throw you under the bus. They didn't try to confuse people about your character and who you were. Everybody could have just felt like they didn't know if it was the right relationship. They had issues to still deal with, things that kind of caused them concern or they had growing up to do or whatever. Now, those people might want to come back in your life because they are a loving, nurturing person who could have found themselves in a relationship with someone who's kind of like the person that was shadowy in your life. And they're really rejecting the idea that that is someone they want to have as a marriage partner. But everybody can get into some shadowy relationships because we all have lessons to learn, you know? And some of those people might be thinking they would like to heal things with you. Just like when you were in a shadowy relationship and you were being nurturing and supportive and encouraging, and the other person was kind of being emotionally cold and detached and egotistical and self-centered, who rejected being more emotionally nurturing or being willing to emotionally grow and mature themselves, that thought they could just indulge in a relationship with you, kind of being deceptive and manipulative because they never thought you'd love and believe in yourself. Well, there's other people that have gotten in relationships like that, and it's to learn to really appreciate people and for everybody to grow and mature themselves and learn these lessons, you know. I had to learn letting my heart run my life. I had to learn living more from my mind than my heart. I had to learn living from my more passionate nature or impulsive nature. I had lessons to learn about my more, you know, worldly nature and who I invest my time, energy, and effort into because I can run my life off into the ditch. And now that everybody has grown and matured themselves, and the people who you always viewed as being loving, nurturing people, whether you were in a relationship with them in the past or you hadn't chosen to date them in the past, because, you know, I think we will be drawn and attracted to people because we have lessons to learn. And we could have not been drawn and attracted to certain people because, you know, maybe it was like, oh my gosh, this doesn't seem to have the drama that these other relationships have. And that makes me feel like it's love, you know? But we've talked about it before in videos, and I'm sure you know what I mean. Some of those people, The divine is working with everyone to try to heal them when we're in our shadowy nature, to look at life from a higher perspective, to invest in looking at life from a higher perspective in our Aquarius energy, to put life into perspective in the big picture. Like, oh my gosh, I'm probably going to live like 80 years. Do I need to jump into a relationship right away because I have fear and insecurity? Maybe not. Maybe I could chill and breathe. And not take impulsive action like I must be in a relationship for my sense of worth and value, or to be in a relationship. How about I learn to love myself and I don't take impulsive, reckless action? How about I listen to my intuition and I work through my own fears and insecurities? How about I learn to invest in my own foundation to get myself out of some of my past pain and heartbreak or self-limiting beliefs so that I do feel more abundant and stable? And once I have done all that work, then I will be ready to invest in a loving relationship. But I first have to learn to love me so I'm not in codependent energy thinking the answer lies outside of me. So I think the divine is always trying to help people, but I think the shadowy people, if you were in a relationship with people like that, they had every opportunity to choose love, and they showed you their truth is, I'm not willing to do that. It requires me to deal with my issues, to face some of my fears and insecurities, to let go of hiding behind my egoic facade that makes me feel safe and secure. I am not willing to be more authentic and vulnerable in the world. I'd have a lot of work to do maybe to get there because I haven't done it maybe for years. And I choose to try to manipulate and control you to get you to do it my way. And that wasn't very loving. So they're probably not even interested in being in relationship with people who have learned to emotionally love and believe in themselves, because those are people they can't manipulate, because those people are connected with their intuition and they can't play on their fear and their insecurity and their lust and their greed and their codependency. They need to go find someone who's just maybe trying to heal from a relationship that ended. Here, my pretty. Let me try to get you in a relationship with me. And then I'll try to do things subtly to make you stay more focused on the relationship and healing the relationship and bringing the dream into reality than you healing from any of your issues, because I don't want you to grow to your full potential, because I don't plan to grow to my full potential. I operate from my egoic nature. Emotionally, I'm aligned with, I have been betrayed before. I'm not doing love. I reject emotionally connecting with my high vibe Taurus energy. I refuse to use my mind and all my charm and skills and communication. I refuse to use them for good. I'm going to use them for evil. It's all about me and what I want. And I want someone who views me as being God in their life, so they don't look like a ruler of communist China. There is no higher truth or justice. If I say something's just and fair, it's just and fair. Because they might be people who don't believe in any higher truth or justice to aspire to. And they might be really full of themselves and think that they are God. Who knows? Okay, let's go ask what's coming up for the people who harness some high vibe Taurus energy. Card not showing itself came out because of the Eight of Swords. High Priestess. Well, and the reason is because of kind of the Eight of Swords. Just keep listening to your intuition, I would say. When your intuition tells you it's time, if there's been people you've been hoping, the loving people in the world, that do their best to be just and fair in relationships, but just might have their own issues to deal with. If your intuition tells you it's time to move forward, that, if people aren't coming towards you because of their own issues, then it's time to move forward and invest in the people and let go of thinking you can work with those people to keep moving forward and communicating with the people in the world who, you think are free and available to invest. We can't keep staying stuck by people is kind of what the deceit card is, like not wanting to see the truth and kind of being up in our head about it because we'd like a dream to come into reality with some people. Just wish them peace, and every day you really should be doing that. And maybe eventually when your intuition tells you, you know what, apparently those people are stuck dealing with whatever it is they're dealing with in their life, I need to move on. And there might be some people who might try to pop up in your path, who might think you're in a mental prison, and so therefore they think they could have a victory with you in a relationship, but what they don't know about you is that you're intuitive, and when they find out and you tell them like all these things, kind of like, the lessons that you've learned in life, and these certain patterns of relationships that you're no longer interested in being in, then they might be the one who's in a mental prison. It's like, shit, I didn't know they'd figured out this illusion about how people aren't really who they say they are, and they try to manipulate people for their own selfish, greedy, prideful reasons. Because we can all be naive and gullible in the world, and life's about learning these lessons that not everybody has good intentions. And some of those people who pop up will be people who will be in a mental prison because they find out that, yeah, their plan isn't going to work. And other people might appear in your life because they too are someone who's given a lot of thought to love, and the people they could have been living their life with or hanging around maybe didn't know how intuitive they were. And some of those people, if they've been in a mismatched relationship or they felt betrayed because they could have gotten in a relationship with someone who they thought was very stable and grounded, and that a dream was going to come into reality, and they ended up feeling betrayed because their partner didn't do these things either. They've healed and they've done this work within themselves, and they've stayed focused on love and listened to their intuition. Okay, what about the people who harness some shadowy Taurus energy? Also what you don't know is the shadowy people who, if any of them were trying to manipulate and control you and have a mental prison, they're the ones who, because when you're in a relationship and you don't choose to be truthful and honest and just and fair and open and honest and loving, thinking you can manipulate someone, thinking they'll be the one in a mental prison, now they could be the one in a mental prison because you listened to your intuition and you loved yourself and you weren't in denial of the truth. They weren't just, they weren't fair, they weren't loving. And their plan, thinking they were so smart that they could manipulate you, that you wouldn't love and believe in yourself enough, and that you'd continue to want to come back and be in a relationship with them and indulge them, they were wrong. And now they're the one in a mental prison because, and now they could feel betrayed almost by the divine because you loved and believed in yourself. Now they could be mad at God that you do listen to your intuition because they like to think they're God. I mean, it's just like, the devil, when people get in their shadowy energy, is kind of like in our devilish energy. And so when people are in that, they don't like it when things don't go their way, right? Just like if you've ever kind of ran your life off into the ditch and you had people that didn't want to hang around you anymore, and you blamed everyone else for being this way and that way, because we didn't want to see the truth. And maybe I need to grow up. Maybe I need to get out of my addictions or whatever, What's coming up for the shadowy people? Okay, we have some cards not showing themselves. So I guess something they don't see coming. And they came out because of the Seven of Wands. Well, for one, what they didn't see coming, the people who were trying to manipulate someone or that are currently in a relationship trying to manipulate someone, what they didn't see coming is that people would stand up for themselves. And they're going to be in their ego about it. And that those people are no longer aligned with these energies in a shadowy way. They're no longer living more from their mind than their heart, thinking it's just and fair to keep staying in a relationship with other people who live more from their mind than their heart. And they've taken inspired action in their life to, from the 5 going to the 7 of Wands, that's taking back a 2 of Wands. They no longer view this person as someone they can have their dreams come into reality with. And that's going to put the shadowy people in their ego, because the people they were trying to manipulate are harnessing these energies in a high vibe way. And those people are taking action in their life based on the truth that they've seen. This is unjust. This is unfair. It's unkind. It's unloving. You're bossy, controlling, manipulative, self-centered in your shadowy Leo energy. And I'm going to harness high vibe Leo energy of being in the energy of love, speaking the truth, wanting justice and fairness and balance. And if you have a problem with that, because you like it to be all about yourself, well then I'm going to take some inspired action to stand up for myself and believe in myself and believe in my dreams. And I don't believe my dream can come into reality with you anymore. The other thing they might not see coming is that they might have someone come into their life who does want to be in a relationship with them, will stand up and defend them. The only thing they don't know about that person, because that person isn't showing it to them, that the reason they might be willing to get in a relationship with and stand up for them is because they too live more from their mind than their heart. And they think it's just and fair in the Justice card to get in this relationship. Because they also have inner conflict about standing up for themselves and believing in themselves, just like the other people that are in shadowy energy who don't want to take some bold, brave, creative action to get out of their ego and their fear and their insecurity and their past pain and heartbreak and their more materialistic view of life. But they also might be someone who initially might present themselves as like being like a warm, creative, passionate person, but really it's all a strategy. And they really might be emotionally cold and detached. And they think it's just and fair once they get in a relationship to compete with their partner. Because that's what shadowy energy is. It's kind of people in their ego who haven't learned to love and believe in themselves. So they really kind of don't freely give to other people, and they're in their ego and they're defensive. So then they kind of end up treating their partner like their competition and the opponent they have to defeat. And it's going to make some of those shadowy people really defensive being in a relationship with that person, but they might not be willing to get out of it if it makes them look and creates this whole image. Oh my gosh, look, I got in a relationship with someone. Look, we've healed. Look how victorious and successful and abundant we are. And now they're the ones who are having to settle for an illusion. And they previously thought the loving people in their life should defend being in a relationship with them for those reasons and settle for the illusion. Well, now they're the ones who are going to have to decide, am I willing to keep defending this illusion? Now that I know what it's like to have the shoe on the other foot, that now I'm in a relationship with someone who's like me and mirroring back me to myself. And now I'm in a relationship with someone who thinks they're really smart and just and fair, and everything they say is just and fair is just and fair. And we have a lot of conflict and fighting because we're both kind of prideful and egotistical and think that we're both just and fair and the smartest bulb in the box, and you should listen to me. No, you should listen to me. Well, mine makes more sense. No, mine makes more sense. Well, I think I should be able to do this. I don't think you should be able to do that. You know? Yeah. They were a fool not to take inspired action previously to get out of their ego. Because now they're in a relationship with someone who's just like themselves. Another thing they might not see coming is that the people in their life that they were defensive to, the people who spoke the truth, who maintained balance within themselves and didn't take like impulsive, reckless action in their life, they're going to have people who want to be in a relationship with them because they don't have inner conflict about getting out of their ego, and they're going to have people come into their life to stand up and defend them because they're just and fair and loving and creative and inspired, passionate people. And that's going to cause this person a lot of inner conflict that they're not going to show the world. That the other person made good choices in their life, and their dreams are going to come into reality. And because they didn't make loving, just, and fair decisions in their life, and they were kind of immature and had some difficult lessons to learn, they're going to get themselves in a situation that's going to cause them a lot of inner conflict. But because they're so competitive and defensive, and maybe competitive in the world, and they thought the things of the world, the money, or the indulgent was the way to live your life, it's going to cause them a lot of inner conflict. But they might defend it anyway because too prideful to admit probably that they made a mistake, like other fallible human beings in the world who've made mistakes. So there you go, Taurus energy. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.